Now, I'm going to ask you something personal. How old are you? Now, a lot of people can be sensitive about this question, but what I'm really asking you is not your physical age, but what your metabolic age is. Now, to help us understand why our metabolic age is so important, we have Julianne here, who's a registered nurse and nutritionist. Hi, Julianne.
Hi.
Now, what is the difference between our biological age and our physical age?
So our physical age is the age around on the clock.
Right.
That's how old we actually are.
Right, okay.
Our biological age is how old our body is, and that may have nothing to do with our physical age.
Okay, well, we have a revolutionary machine that will give you this kind of crucial, in-depth information about your health, introducing the Tanita scales. Now, Tanita scales are from Japan, and they're not your ordinary scales. Now, how are the Tanita scales different from your traditional weighing scales at home?
So the traditional scales, you jump on them, they tell you how heavy you are. The Tanita scales, when you jump on them, they tell you not just how heavy you are, but how much of your body is made out of fat, how much is muscle, how much is internal fat, how hydrated you are. It tells you many more important things.
Ah, right. So why is knowing your body fat most important?
The reason knowing your body fat is important is because the weight on the scales doesn't actually tell you anything.
No, it doesn't, does it?
You could jump on the scales. You could be like, have a lot of fat and a little bit of muscle, but the scales might show you that you're actually healthy body weight. Or you could be an all black who's all muscle and very little fat, and the scales would tell you, wow, you're really, really heavy. The Tanita scales will tell you what your body is actually made of. It will tell you how much muscle you've got.
That's amazing.
And how much fat you've got. And it's the fat that's important to know, not how heavy you are.
Okay, yes. No, traditionally, where would you have to go to get this kind of information?
So normally you would have to go to either a doctor, a gym, or a pharmacist who has a very expensive set of Tanita type scales.
Right.
And they would do your measurements and weigh you.
Okay, so now you use the Tanita scales with your clients.
Yes.
So how do you find them useful?
I find them really good because, as I said before, you can tell how much muscle a person's got, how much body fat they've got, not just their weight. You can also tell if they're hydrated, and you can measure that internal dangerous fat as well.
So why would we have these scales at home then?
As a nutritionist, I give people a diet and exercise plan. And they can't come back to me every week and see what their progress is.
Right.
So there's two things that are important. One is I want to make sure that they're maintaining their muscle mass as they lose weight, because a lot of programs, you can just lose muscle.
Yes, of course, yeah.
And, you know, you'll jump on the scales and you think, yeah, I've lost a lot of weight, but we want to make sure that that weight is not muscle, and we maintain the muscle and lose the fat, and the scales will tell you that.
Okay, so now I've heard of BMI before, but what's the difference between BMI and BIA?
Okay, so BMI is body mass index. Basically, it's the ratio of your weight to your height. That's all it is. Again, it's like scales. It doesn't tell you what that weight is made up of. Whereas the bioelectrical impedance, it will distinguish between lean mass and body fat.
Okay, well, I'm really keen to see this in action, Julianne. So let's walk over here. We have our lovely model, Shorty. Hi, Shorty.
Hi, Glenn.
How are you going?
Good, thanks, good.
That's great. Now, let's get Shorty on here. So, Shorty, do you want to put this on and step on the scales and tell us, and then we can go through what information we need to input into the Tanita. So let's hop on, Shorty, and let's see the Tanita in action. Now, Julianne, what information do we need to input into the Tanita before we step on the scales?
It's really simple. All you need is your age, your height, whether you're male or female, whether you're an athlete or not.
Okay, so Shorty, I hope we don't mind sharing with the world what this is saying. So what's this telling us?
So the first thing it's telling us is Shorty's weight, which is 69 kilos.
Okay.
And then it tells us how much body fat he's got.
Oh, do you mind sharing that?
Fantastic, at 6%.
Oh, wow, that is fantastic. So how is it reading this information?
So what the scales do is they send a little electric current up one leg, through the lower part of your body, and down the other leg.
Right.
So electricity is conducted by water.
Okay.
So the more water you have in your body, the more you conduct that little current, which you can't feel, by the way. It doesn't hurt.
That's good.
Doesn't give you an electric shock or anything.
Okay, that's good.
Okay. So if you have fat, on the other hand, it doesn't conduct electricity.
Ah, right.
Okay. So then there's a very complicated computerized calculation, and they
Okay.
can tell you just by that how that electric current is conducted.
So this is a very, very advanced system for that really in-depth information. Now, Shorty, I understand that you've been using these scales for quite some time, and what has your experience been with them?
I've found that they're great in maintaining my health from day to day,
Yeah.
week to month to month. Whether it be for casual purposes or for my sporting purposes, it always gives me a detail of what my body is doing on that particular given day or week or month. And therefore I know that I'm maintaining a nice healthy lifestyle, and it's showing me the detail.
Now, Shorty, what is your metabolic age? What's the Tanita telling us how old you really are?
It's telling me where I am 18 years of age.
18, that's incredible. 18, how old are you really though?
I'm 61.
That's incredible. So because you look after yourself, the Tanita is telling you your metabolic age is 18. Now, you're a bit of an athlete, aren't you?
Yes, I do triathlon as a major sport and represent New Zealand on many occasions.
Oh, okay. So how has the Tanita scales helped you as an athlete?
It's helped me monitor my performance and my body weight and all the other percentages so closely that I can get the optimum performance from my body, realising I'm not carrying extra visceral fat,
Yep.
extra body fat. My body is well hydrated,
Right.
and I'm within all the limitations to get the best out of my body.
Great, that is incredible. Now, we also have Cece, who's been using these Tanita scales, so let's see what she has to say about them.
They actually have helped me to manage my size, because when I came back from overseas a couple of years ago, my chronological age was 42 years of age, and I have then utilized the Tanita scales, and I dropped down to 37 years of age.
Right, and so what happened when you started getting fitter and healthier? What did your metabolic age drop down to?
It dropped down to a whopping 27 years.
Great, and how do you think the Tanita scales will help people at home?
I think it's necessary to have it in every household because it really helps you to maintain the right size.
Well, that was Cece's experience with the scales. Now, I often get on the scales and think, oh my goodness, I've put on some weight in a matter of days. But how will the Tanita help women?
It'll help women because over the month, as you know, our weight goes up and down with our hormones.
Sure does.
So if you jump on the scale, normal set of scales one day and your weight goes up, you can freak out a little bit.
Right.
But on the Tanita scales, it will tell you what that weight actually is. And most of the time, it's just a bit of extra fluid that you're hanging on to.
Well, that's good to know, but our Tanita scales will actually confirm that. So why is it important to find out our lean mass and not just our fat as well?
It's really important because as we get older, our lean mass goes down. We lose muscle. And as if we go on a diet, we can also lose muscle as well. Our lean mass is what keeps us really young.
Which is what we want.
And it keeps us strong. So the more lean mass you have as you age, the healthier you are and the less likely you are to die an early death.
So what's the secret to maintaining muscle and losing fat? We all want to know the secret.
Well, first of all, you've got to provide the building blocks of muscle.
Okay.
So without providing the building blocks, which is protein, you won't be able to maintain your muscle. So the key is to have protein 3 times a day. And I recommend people have a palm size 3 times a day.
Okay.
And the other thing that does is it stops you getting hungry and you eat less food,
Well-
and that helps you lose body
Well,
fat.
that's some good advice. So what's the difference between visceral fat and superficial fat?
Okay, so superficial fat is the fat you can grab. You know, I can grab quite a good chunk here.
So can I.
And the visceral fat is the internal, it's the unhealthy, it's the dangerous toxic fat. It actually lets off chemicals that are pro-inflammatory, they cause inflammation.
right.
The visceral fat is linked to all of the diseases of aging, so type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and even cancer are linked to visceral fat.
Okay, so we were talking about portion sizes of our protein before, and they say we are what we eat. So why is it important to actually weigh our food?
Well, when I see people as a nutritionist, I find people are really confused about how much to eat. They either eat way too much or they undereat. And a lot of people are kind of scared of protein, so they tend to undereat protein, so they're
Right.
not building their muscle. Having a set of scales means you can accurately weigh how much you eat, so you're not overeating, you're not undereating.
Okay, well, now you can have this information readily available in the comfort of your own home. Find out how old you really are and what makes up your weight, and do something about it before it's too late. Tanita prescribes healthy range limits that research indicates a reduced risk of serious diseases such as diabetes, diabetes, heart attack, stroke, other CV diseases and numerous cancers. Now people have used these scales and changed their diet and exercise, reduced their body fat and come off diabetes medication and more. Keeping yourself in the healthy range keeps you physically young. Now the Tanita scale is normally valued at $230, but here today we've worked out a very special offer for the viewers. Call now to get your Tanita scale for only $199. But that's not all. Be one of the first 50 callers and get the Tanita food weighing scale valued at just over $60, absolutely free. That's valued at $291, but you're getting it for only $199. You save $92. Take control of how much you eat and get healthy. Item number 102126. Call now on 0800 My Shop. That's 0800 69 74 67 to order your Tanita today. This offer is not available in stores, so call now. Thanks so much for joining me, Julianne.
You're welcome, thank you.